Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to go over the first paper and the exam, and then I'm going to talk about the final exam very briefly. Okay, so a few things to start out. I'd like to apologize for the last few weeks of class. Obviously things went in a way that I did not plan over the last couple of weeks, and it was fairly disruptive. I appreciate you all being very understanding during that time, and yeah, so everything should be more or less back on track now. I have everything graded, and we're ready for finals, so I appreciate your time and patience in those things. And I also want to apologize for taking so long to get back your first paper and your first exam. Certainly in a perfect world, I would have gotten them back to you a little bit quicker, but they are back now, and there are comments on your first paper that I hope will be helpful. So certainly look at those. Okay, sort of an overview of the first paper. There were 3 A's, 3 B's, and 5 C's, which isn't so bad. If I was going to give a couple pieces of advice that would have improved these grades significantly, the first one is that it's really important to do every part of the assignment. So many people didn't provide a reply to their response to their objection, so they did an okay job of presenting the argument, and then an objection, and then a reply to the objection, but they didn't give a response to the reply. So that definitely hurt a lot of scores, and I think is one of the main problems with the paper. And just a couple of comments about the comments that I gave you on the paper. I focus my feedback on giving you what I think would be the most important thing that you could do to improve on your paper. So I didn't give you tons and tons and tons of feedback. I just sort of, for each paper, picked the one thing that if you improved would improve your grade the most, and I talked about that. So certainly if for whatever reason you want more feedback, feel free to reach out to me. And similarly, if you are not happy with your grade for whatever reason, please feel free to reach out. Now, as for the first exam, the spread is fairly similar. There were 3 A's, 4 B's, and 5 C's, and I think that this is okay. The best way I think people could improve on their exam is being a little bit more clear and careful when they present the arguments for each question. So there are a lot of situations where the arguments were kind of run together. And then the other thing that I think people could do is to expand a little bit more on the points that you're making in the exam. So I realize that it's an exam and that you're under some pressure, but I guess on these kinds of things I would encourage you to say a sentence or two more than maybe you think you need, right? Just try to expand a little bit more on the points that you're trying to make. That can be pretty valuable in this kind of exam. And another thing that came up 4 or 5 times is that I only intended for you to answer 4 of the 8 questions, and there are a number of you that answered all 8. So I'm sure that that probably took quite a bit of your time, and it was definitely not my intention. So my intention was for you to only answer 4, and how I handled that was I gave you the best grade out of the 8. Okay. A few concluding notes to sort of help if you're freaking out or worried about your grades. One thing that I would say is remember that 30% of your grade is made up of the daily work. So if you were very conscientious, which many of you were, and you did most or all of your daily work, then you're going to get all of this 30%, because remember that I just graded all of the daily work, basically all or nothing. So if you did it at all, you got all of the points. So there's a lot of you that are going to get 100% on the daily work, and that's for 30% of your grade. So that can help quite a bit. The other thing I want to say is that if you complete all of the big 4 assignments, so that's the first and second paper and the first and second exam, and you did most of the daily work, then I'm going to say it's probably going to be very hard not to pass this class. So If that's you, you did most of the daily work and you completed all of the 4 big assignments, just don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. And as I said earlier, if you have any problems with any of your grades, please, please, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to discuss any concerns or problems that you're having or give you more feedback if that's what you would like. Just please reach out. I'm happy to talk with you about any of those things as much as you would like. Now I'm also going to pause for a moment and talk about the final exam. So the final exam is due on Wednesday at midnight. And unlike our last exam, this exam has just 3 questions. I think that they're fairly straightforward. I wouldn't anticipate that it will require a bunch of studying. It should be easy enough. Unfortunately, because we didn't cover the 3rd unit of stuff, there's just not much more I could do. So I gave you 3 open-ended questions, and one of them, to be quite honest, is sort of a gimme question. So there's only really 2 serious questions on the final exam, and to be honest with you, you guys have written a ton, and I'm just hoping that this will be a little bit more relaxed and straightforward for you. So in conclusion, I would like to thank you all, but certainly for all of your patience, but also I've had a lot of fun teaching philosophy to you. This is a format that I had never worked through before, and I've learned a tremendous amount. I'm sorry that in many ways you guys were my test subjects for this first round, but please know that every time I teach the course after this, it's going to improve significantly, and it's going to improve in large part because of my interactions with you, and all of the tremendous hard work that you've put in. It's really been a joy teaching all of you guys philosophy, something that I care about very, very much, and I hope that it was pleasant for you as well.